Here with Janessa Storlie today. Janessa is a wonderful friend of mine. I'm so happy to have you here today. But she does so much volunteering in our community. She is such an asset. She has served on many, many boards for many, many organizations. She's on the board with myself at the James Memorial Preservation Society, and I couldn't be happier to have her there. But also, she is the admin of a wonderful, wonderful Facebook group called What's Happening in Williston. And it's very informative. If you ever want to know what is going on in Williston, check out What's Happening. She definitely has the haps on that. So, Janessa, I am so happy to have you as my first guest. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Thank you so much for having me. This is really, really awesome to be sitting down, visiting with you, and chatting about all things community involvement and imposter syndrome.
Oh my gosh, something that we both know about.
Yes.
Something fierce. That imposter syndrome. You're a bit ahead of me on the community involvement, but which kind of leads me into tell everybody about yourself and me. So these are some things that I don't know if I know everything, about your past life. So tell me.
So I grew up, I was actually born in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but my parents moved us over to Williston, North Dakota when I was 7. So I consider myself a local here because I grew up for the majority of my life. I've lived here in Williston. I've got family farm that is actually, I would say, about probably 40 to 50 miles west of here in Montana, around this small community called Dagmar. And so that was really the pulling force as to why our family moved us out here, to be closer to grandparents and great grandparents. So we spend a lot of time out at the farm, and most, if not 100% of my family currently lives here within the Williston area as well. So I have a lot of ties to the community. I've lived here, again, ever since I was 7, graduated high school, witnessed the massive growth that Williston went through as well. And yeah, for a short stint of time, I did live in Spokane, Washington. I absolutely loved it. That was in between 2016 and 2019, but in 2019, I moved on back here. And yeah, have really been trying a lot of different things in my 20s and 30s, I guess. My education is in business administration and accounting, but somehow I finagled myself to be more in a community development role with the American Cancer Society. And I have been working with the American Cancer Society for about, I want to say, 6 months now. And I help out with coordinating multiple Relay for Life events within the states of North and South Dakota, which is really incredible. I've actually been involved with the Upper Missouri Relay for Life, which is here in Williston, for somewhere around 10 years. So I've been highly involved with the American Cancer Society for many years. So it's a really amazing opportunity to now be a staff partner and to be helping other Relay for Life continue to be successful within our Dakota area. So yeah, that is a little bit about me and my work history and what I do. Like I said, I've tried multiple things. I've been a real estate agent. I've helped multiple small businesses in terms of their accounting. I've just been involved and tried so many different things just to try to find my right footing. So yeah, that is a little bit about myself and my work history.
Awesome. Well, I know that for myself, you are such a valuable source of knowledge. Some of the advice that you give me for, my own business and kind of navigating that social space that I am not familiar with, and to be really honest, uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
You've been so helpful, and I love our conversations. They're really wonderful. So yeah, we now, just for everybody in case they're curious, we do meet. We have accountability meetings, and once or twice a week. We've been very good at keeping them at twice a week
Yeah.
lately. So
Yeah.
been so very helpful. I look forward to them. I look forward to telling you that, I completed my list this week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know that, but you're wonderful in that way. So, and I can only imagine that the American Cancer Society feels that way too. I
Oh,
hope.
good.
Yeah.
I think so. My boss and my team are always really, they really are appreciative. I honestly am very blessed to work with
Oh, that's
not
wonderful.
only so many great volunteers, but an incredible team. So I'm super, super lucky.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm so happy to see you there. They couldn't have found a better representative for them. So now, I have here in my notes that you have a side project
Yes, I
going on
do.
right now. So
Yeah.
I want you to tell everybody about it because I think it's wonderful. I'm super excited, and so yeah, let everybody know what you're working.
Yeah. So I have been trying to, I guess, like hone in on a wonderful idea in terms of generating an online business. In Belinda and I's one-on-one conversation, she mentioned just my history in terms of navigating social media and all of that kind of stuff. And I am really interested in showing up some way on the online space. And that all started actually, I want to say back in 2016, 2017, I actually started a YouTube channel. And I think that's what catapulted all of this interest. And it was actually makeup tutorials. It's still out there. I do not do any makeup tutorial videos anymore, but I am still a huge lover of makeup. But within that experience, it really taught me, what kind of realm I wanted to show up in terms of online space. And so I always thought my niche would be more towards business and accounting and implementing structures to it. But outside of that and trying to push something along, nothing ever really stuck and nothing ever really felt authentic.
Yeah.
But going on my outside world, I was becoming extremely involved with the Williston community, volunteering even more than I had done in the past, taking part in a whole bunch of boards, learning about how a lot of the large scale events are placed within the Williston area. So my attention was really drawn to that at the time. And throughout, I would probably say these past 2 to 3 years, I've learned a ton of knowledge, not only about being a volunteer, but really what makes an effective board. And so I kind of now have really found that niche and authentic point in my online career to where I feel like I can really help individuals, and I know exactly who my ideal audience is. And so I will be, I'm working on a volunteer guidebook, basically, on how do you activate yourself. Like if you're somebody who wants to be interested, if you're somebody interested in volunteering and taking part, how do you make sure that you are volunteering authentically? How are you making an impact that you want to be a part of? And then two, just navigating those different things. What makes an effective board and what doesn't make an effective board? And how can you help, redefine maybe some of those communication barriers that occur within boards that you may or may not be on? So I'm just creating this overall volunteer guidebook and some really tips and tidbits on how to really make your time effective while you're volunteering. Because that's one thing that we're noticing is after COVID, there's not a lot of individuals that are volunteering as much as they used to. And I think a big reason is COVID taught us all that our time is most important. Everybody, our biggest commodity is time. And so we don't want our time wasted. So whether that be in ineffective meetings that drone on for hours and are not productive, whether that be, volunteering, but there's no exact list of how things were supposed to be done, any of those different kind of things, like those are the topics that I'm going to talk about and how to implement the change so it's beneficial not only for you as a volunteer, but for the entire board.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about this, and we've talked about how when you choose to volunteer, you should. Your time is very valuable. It is your greatest commodity. Wealth, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
Freedom, time, all of it,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
So we've talked about when you do decide, I want to give back to my community. I want to, do something. You have to be selfish. That's what makes an effective board is a bunch of selfish board members, but selfish in a way that I want to see this succeed. So myself as an artist, I want to see the James succeed because it's where we do art.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and other people like you, I mean, you may call it selfish, but it's realistically getting down to that main purpose of like, I'm serving on this board and wanting to be on this board so other people like me have a chance to showcase their art. Like it is, I mean, it comes back to that. Like, yes, you want to have your art featured,
yeah,
but I mean, in any board that you're in, I think it's really important to, again, be authentic with yourself and understand that you are participating in this board
yeah,
because you want whatever events, whatever dollars raised, whatever that mission and vision is of that organization,
yeah,
you want to see it live on
and
within the
grow,
community and grow
right?
because you know that there's other people like you that believe in the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love it. That's why I just love this program because there are so many just good, kind-hearted people that really do want to see change. And I say selfish because I don't know, maybe there's a bigger, better word for it, but really, I guess you know, me giving back makes me feel very good. It makes me feel like a dopamine surge or
Yeah.
whatever. You know
Yeah,
what
it
it is?
does.
Like, haha, I'm a good person. So,
Well,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's so whatever it's called,
Yeah.
you know,
I would say more it's purpose. I think there's purpose behind it. It provides purpose
yes.
because, like, in life, there's probably the key things, which is your career and your family.
Yes, for
And so those two are really, those are really integral parts. But for a lot of individuals, they need to feel a little bit something else, like they're working towards a larger purpose in life.
mhm,
And John Maxwell puts it really well is that, because some people, they just search and search and search for their purpose within life. But John Maxwell made it super simple and said that your only purpose is to serve and to help other people. So
yeah,
however that works for you as an individual, I think that's really key to remember is that however you want to serve and help other people, it needs to be something that is authentic for you and something that you authentically care about, whether that be the arts, whether that be events, whether that be health and wellness, whether that be policies and procedures, or, there's nonprofit organizations it houses so much. And so just as long as you really understand what is authentic for you and what you truly care about, and
mhm,
that is really what's going to be your purpose. And so then you kind of have like a more well evolved life where you have your family, you have your career, and then you have this purpose to really kind of keep you motivated, maybe just a little bit more in both aspects.
right, right, yeah. Man, and it's a great it's a great feeling, um, And yeah, I I would really, really like to see more volunteering. And so w that's one of the reasons I love the program that you are trying to set up, that you're working really, really hard towards. So now, who would be perfect for this course?
All right. So for this course, I'm calling it Activate because I think a lot of volunteers, whether you're a current volunteer or a new volunteer,
Yeah,
you need to activate. You
love
need to
it.
activate a lot of things, and so Activate. The ideal client, as you would say, is definitely for individuals who are. I almost imagine it's for somebody who has been volunteering, but they're feeling a little bit of that burnout so
Yeah.
far. It's going to be great if you are a new volunteer as well. You're going to learn a lot of knowledge about how to pick and choose, what kind of boards to serve on, what to ask your board, what to kind of mentally look out for, some good flags, some red flags, all of that different kind of stuff. But it's really going to be in there for, like, if you are serving on a board and you're just not feeling like it's going anywhere, and that you have tried to have your voice heard and it just doesn't, some different steps that you can take and how to really get over that compassion fatigue. Because that's really what it comes down to, is that a lot of individuals, how they start volunteering is it's typically from somebody else in the community saying, hey, I'm on this board. I think that you should come to this meeting too. I think it'd be really great for you. X, Y, and Z. And so they go to this board meeting, and then all of a sudden they get wrapped up in all of these different tasks and getting assigned to things and saying yes to things, but they don't really necessarily know if that's actually something that they're really interested in being a part of. There's not any sort of waiting period. It's just that, like, some boards and some organizations are so desperate for help. It's like, oh, great, you can do this. And they just throw you into things without actually acknowledging what you as a volunteer really wants to do. So I think where it first starts is analyzing that. If you're a current one or a new one, it's really analyzing what you want from the board and your volunteer experience, and what causes do you actually care about.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that, and then understanding maybe how to alleviate some communication errors throughout it, and throughout your volunteer experience, and then really educating you on how to set healthy boundaries for yourself.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. That's as much as I love, being part of the community, being on boards, having um, the having a voice in what goes on in these certain organizations. Yeah, I can. It can take a lot out of you, and if you don't know how to say no, you're not any help. Even if you love the organization and if you do everything, you'll burn out very quickly and not be any help.
Yep.
So you won't be helping yourself, you won't be helping the organization.
Yep.
So, you can't do everything. And I think a lot of volunteers also get sucked in um, by being either current or former people pleasers, so I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but those of us that have maybe had some traumatic experiences or have had our life changed by something, we want to ease unnecessary suffering for others, and so we tend to jump all in.
Yes.
Skinny dipping off the, in the deep
Yeah.
end, just all in,
Yep.
and we end up drowning.
Yep. And
Quick.
then, yes. And then too, it's the further that you get in and work with the organization, the further the flaws are going to showcase themselves.
Absolutely.
And there's no perfect board out there. I'm just going to be honest. There's no perfect board. There's no perfect scenario, all of that kind of stuff. But if you dive headfirst in and you're already in the deep end, it's going to take some effort to wade through the the things that you can identify that need some work. And
Yeah.
then at that point, you have to make that decision. Okay, what can I change at this point? And what can I, maybe lay to rest and just be okay with how this is functioning at the moment. But I think everything always falls down to effective communication and effective leaders. And unfortunately, out there are just some boards that do not have either of them.
Right.
And so it's about identifying those red flags of like, oh, this is not the kind of board and organization that I want to be working for. And one of the largest red flags that you can see during a board meeting is in terms of delegating tasks. If not everybody around the room is raising their hand saying, I will take part in this, I will do this, I will do this, and I will do it no matter what the task is, whether it is the menial little things, or if it's something major. You don't see a collective group who really cares and who is consistently showing up and putting in the effort in all aspects, then there's something deeper that needs to be addressed.
Okay. So you gave us a red flag on what to look for. What about, what's a green flag? Like what's a man, I should pay more attention, or maybe a sign of a good board.
A sign
board.
I would definitely say a sign of a good board is that they have a volunteer contract put together, which basically showcases the expectations of both the volunteer and of the organization.
Okay.
So then those are two different things that you can hold both parties accountable.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing it needs to be mutually beneficial for both parties. So that contract needs to list out the information that X, Y, and Z organization is going to do, and then expectations for X, Y, and Z volunteer. So that's a sign of a good board who wants to set boundaries from the get-go. Because again, it's all about effective communication. And so within it, if one of the requirements is that you are able to attend 10 out of the 15 meetings held per year.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't know if I can commit to that. That right off the bat. And that gives you the door to say, hey, I don't know. Yeah. Now, if you're like, I can totally do that. And then unfortunately, like some crazy thing happens to where, your house is destroyed, like, life happens, unfortunately, natural disaster, anything like that. It's like, we're all human, and board directors understand it. So it's like, okay, we understand you're going through a difficult time. We get it if you're not able to make all of these meetings. But again, it opens that door to have that conversation of like, hey, I know I committed to this, but X, Y, and Z just happened. And so having that contract right at the beginning allows for open communication no matter what happens.
Right. And it really keeps both parties, because you enter into a contract, while volunteering is great and can be a lot of fun, especially if you're volunteering for something that you truly enjoy. It can be a lot of fun. It can be super rewarding. But you are giving your time to an organization. So they're not paying you. They're not giving you any, stipend. There's nothing monetary that comes with it. And sometimes it is not the funnest. Sometimes it's scraping gum off of, the balcony because a bunch of kids came. No. But, sometimes it's fundraising because we need a new roof, or, things like that. So, that's something that you've really got to, keep in mind. And so I do kind of want to, say this, where if that just doesn't appeal to you, that doesn't make you a bad person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So always making sure that if the organization is setting expectations and clear communication right off from the bat, that means that they have a really great system to where they want to see both you as a volunteer succeed and themselves succeed, because it shows that they know what they need and what they want from a volunteer. And I think that's huge, is
not like that. That is
your expectations.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I don't know if there's really a segue here, so just so I guess this is the meat and potatoes. This might be like the whole reason I asked you to do this, because imposter syndrome is seriously such a downer.
Yeah.
It is horrible. I can have so many certifications. I can have letters behind my name. I can have, I don't know, I could live in a brand new house, be driving the best car, and I would still sometimes feel like the gum on the bottom of a shoe. Like I know nothing. Who am I to be telling people what to do? I'm a loser. I'm not even supposed to really like be here. I kind of feel like I cheated life.
Yeah.
Who am I to be telling people that are more educated than me, that have more life experience than me, that have, are better in every single way than me? How am I supposed to? Anyway, this downer of a person is hanging out in here and just tries to tell me all the time that I am not the person I think I am. Through our conversations, through our accountability meetings, I uncovered that you also suffer. I say suffer, but that imposter syndrome takes up more of your life than you care to give it. And the more I talk to people, just the more I'm baffled. People that I would never expect to, have low confidence. Have low confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this. So I want to know how it's held you back or how you have felt that it's held you back in your life. And then that moment you realized, and like, what did you do? What did you do to overcome it?
Yeah. So I definitely think that, imposter syndrome has been something that I have been struggling with for many, many, many years. Growing up, I always felt like I didn't necessarily have a sense of belonging. And so because of that, I was always trying to be something that I wasn't. I was always trying to be, if it was super skinny, I was trying to lose all of the weight. If it was, whatever it might be, like I took things to the extreme to fit in, and I never necessarily had that sense of belonging within myself to say, okay, I am who I am, and I really love who I am. And I think I really started having that realization probably when I was going through my divorce. I was previously married, and it was not a healthy relationship by any means, because up until that point, I would just surround myself with individuals that would tell me exactly all of the negative things that I was already telling myself in my head. And so it was an unhealthy relationship from the get-go. Yeah. And I just started reading motivational books because I was like, they kept on telling me that I was a problem, And I was like, in my brain, I didn't quite understand it, but I was like, okay, if that's the case, then I really need to start working on myself.
Yeah.
And so I just started reading all of the books. I started drinking the Kool-Aid of personal growth and self-improvement and of leadership. And I really just started witnessing all of those little pieces that unraveled within my life, and everything up until that point that I had experienced and that I'd never necessarily processed.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes for anybody that's in imposter syndrome, they're still almost in a state of surviving instead of thriving. And I really think that when you are in a state of thriving, you understand the journey that has gotten you to where you're at, and you don't judge yourself for that journey, and you
Right.
learn to have self-acceptance. Now, I'm not saying that every piece of this is going to be easy. Like, we all have different challenges that we judge ourselves for, and that we regret, and that we really just are like, oh my gosh, I was stupid. I was so stupid. And it's unfortunate that we focus more on those moments of weakness that we have compared to our moments of strength that we have. So it's just witnessing all the good and then all the bad, but
Yeah.
really highlighting all of those good things.
Absolutely.
And so when I'm really feeling those moments of imposter syndrome, I really try to reconnect with why I do what I do. And I realistically think the reason why I volunteer and I am as involved as I am is because I never had that sense of belonging and great connection growing up. And I want to give that to other people.
Absolutely.
However that may be, whether that be an event, whether that be meetups, whether that be, I mean, it can be, again, a number of different things. It can be a safe park where people can play. It can be whatever it is, but it's all about generating that connection.
Right.
And no matter how small or big the event is, if I can create that safe place for that person to feel connected and not isolated, then I feel like I've done my job. Because I feel like when you're in imposter syndrome, you're in an extremely isolated place. And one thing to remember, no matter what your faith or, beliefs are, the number one thing is that you are not in this world alone. We
Yeah.
are all connected. We are all together in this. But we forget about that, especially now in a world that has moved to more online and working from home. It is difficult to feel that sense of connection. And so everything that I do, it all comes back to connecting individuals.
Yeah.
So that is kind of coming back to that has really helped in terms of overcoming my imposter syndrome, because I may not have found my place per se, but at least I'm helping others potentially find theirs.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then another thing that I do to help kind of combat that imposter syndrome feeling is that I have just like a notes on my phone. And if I have a chance to, go grab coffee by myself, or maybe have dinner by myself, or whatever it might be, I just sit there and I don't use my phone to check social media, all of that, because that just brings up comparison and like you aren't doing enough and fills you with anxiety.
Absolutely.
I just sit there and I just type out things that I like about myself, and they can be physical things, they can be personality traits, they can be things that I've achieved. It can just be different. It can be a number of different things. I just have a personal date with myself to where I just cherish me and I love me just in that moment.
I love that so much. Absolutely. So, um, thank you for sharing all of that, because, you can really get stuck in that and it feels so real. And it's not, one thing that really helped were um you have your Gabby and I have my Mel, even though you love Mel too, but
Yes.
Mel Robbins talks a lot about um um like finding the truth. I'm sorry, like capturing data,
Yeah.
capturing the truth. So,
Yeah.
when I start feeling like comparing myself to, say, other coaches or other artists, and I start feeling so down and, oh, I've missed my shot. I've missed my chance. Or, oh my gosh, she's so much better than me. Or, oh, wow, the 7,000 followers, like just the numbers seem crazy and it just shrinks me. I start and how it started is I started talking to myself like I would talk to my best friend. And because I was so mean to myself.
Yeah.
It was awful. It's it's a catch-22 because right now, like if somebody was like, "You're ugly," I'd be like, "Okay." You know what I mean? Like, neat, or
Yeah.
would try to say something to kind of get at me or get your goat. I have said the worst things that you could ever imagine or that you could ever say to another person. I've said them to myself.
Yep.
I have absolutely deflated my confidence. I have made my ego try to put me in a safe place so that I don't get hurt.
Yep.
It was really hard until I learned how to trust myself and to be on my own side.
Mm-hmm. And it's never to be honest with you, when you're dealing with imposter syndrome, it's never going to go away.
Never.
Like, these are just tools and, different things that you can do for yourself. But unfortunately, it's just something that is always going to pop up, and you're just going to have to figure out the healthy ways that work for you
Totally.
to manage it. Because you can have like really scary things like before an event or before a speaking engagement or before anything, whatever it is, you're going to have those moments of doubt of like, why am I even here? How did I get here? What am I going to say? These people aren't going to appreciate what I've got to say.
Right.
I'm not an expert on this. I don't have X, Y, and Z certifications, whatever it is. Like, it's I just think of in terms of like my volunteering. I'm everybody's like, you always do so much and you know so much and you have this, and it's just like, man, I just show up. Like, I just show up and I do the work, and I don't know, like, I just take pieces from it, but like literally that's it. I this is not my background. I have zero education in it.
Right.
I can help you with your books.
Right.
I know how to do that. I can't do your taxes because I'm not a CPA, but it's like, right. I have these toolkits, but it's like legitimately, it's just like,
just experience. Yeah.
Like, show up. I don't know what else to call it or to say, but it's just all that. It's being there, it's experiencing it, it's supporting, it's creating those, like, putting myself out there. And it has just been such the simplest things. And so it's like, you don't need to be an expert. There are so many individuals out there, whether it be from topics of dating or how to grow your email list or how to, like, they don't have, certification after certification. There's so many people out there providing tips on how to heal, and they aren't certified therapists or anything like that. People find what is authentic for them, and then they help individuals from that. And I think that they experience imposter syndrome. We all do. And it's just like, if you can narrow it down, like you said, on the facts and the simplest things, it's like, that's who I am. And that's how I have shown up authentically. And that's what I'm really passionate about. And that shows through.
Like, it really does. It really, really does. Yeah. I love that. I love having this conversation with you because, for me right now in this space, it really is sometimes a reminder, just by talking about it, just by it, coming out of your mouth, when those things come out and you start asking questions, and they're met with genuine answers, genuine, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. Or when you're met with somebody who you feel like just gives a crap about you.
Yeah.
It makes it go away. It seriously just goes away when you start asking questions.
Yeah.
Be the dummy.
Yeah.
And when you say in your expert voice, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll find out for you.
Exactly.
And it's okay. You didn't get
Mhm.
cooked at the stake. It
Yeah.
really does a lot, you know, it does
Exactly.
a lot that, oh, wait, I'm not perfect, and that's okay. People listen to me anyway, and they enjoy what I have to say, and yeah. So, again, wha finding proof.
Yeah.
I'm such a piece of crap, where's the proof?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess if there's a lot of proof that you're a piece of crap, you're probably a piece of crap. But if there's none, you're probably
Oh.
not, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, everybody has a starting point. Like everybody goes through different ups and downs and
Oh,
struggles within life. And at
right.
those moments, it's like, you know, you always, it's almost like that yin and yang of life. You're going to have
Oh,
something that's
totally.
going really good. But then on the other side, you're going to have something that you just feel so weighed down for. And unfortunately, that weight can really, you know, affect how you are showing up and how you are being effective. And
100.
so it's really learning about how do you heal those parts of like, you know, what difficult times that you're going through. So, and how do you talk about that openly? Because again, we're all together. We all go through struggles. You know, we all go through whether it be addiction, divorce, financial hardship, you know, passing of a loved one, grief. I mean, things can happen in life and you don't know when they're going to happen or how they're going to happen or any of that kind of stuff. But one thing about volunteering and about being involved in whatever capacity you are is that it really helps defeat that feeling of isolation. And
It
again,
really
imposter syndrome feeds on isolation. So, yeah, you may not talk about your struggles with the individuals, but you can have that honest conversation when you feel like you're ready, and it can open up the door to
absolutely.
really foster this sense of care. Because the more that you are involved and show up, yes, you create this little community behind your cause, but realistically, it's a group of like minded individuals who believe the same thing that
That's right.
legitimately care about you.
Yeah.
And so it's important to be honest with yourself. And again, you don't have to share all of the details about what's going on, but you can be a little bit vulnerable, and that vulnerability can just make your experience a lot more gratifying, I guess. And you feel less isolated at that time.
Totally. Absolutely. You know, you're absolutely right. And I have found that you're never in a place by accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
Correct.
never just show up by accident, and neither did anybody else.
Yeah.
So if you were drawn to that place, your other board members were too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's so funny, it's for the same reasons. So,
Yep.
and you really do. You find your tribe,
Yeah.
and they help you. They hold you up. They help you in your life. They can help you with several different things. But again, I'm bringing this back to art because um, you know, it's what I'm mostly involved in right now. But I have asked so many questions and have been given so many opportunities by other board members to get my art out there, that not only have they, you know, been wonderful as friends, they've been wonderful for my business. It's been wonderful opportunities for art shows, galleries, things like that. And so my dream of seeing fine art come to Williston is, you know, probably going to be a reality because I did find my tribe
Yeah.
through volunteering. And so I think that that's really, really awesome. And again, thank you for sharing all of this. But
Yeah.
so we've gone through pretty much everything, you know, everything that I've asked. We've just naturally gone through it.
Yeah.
But so I do want to bring this to a close because you are so busy, and I want to let you go on with your day. And it's Friday. Seriously, like who wants to do all this on a Friday? Um, my last question for you, Janessa, before I let you go on with your life. What is advice to your younger self from your current self?
So I would have to say advice to my younger self is just remember the great things about you.
Mhm.
Like keep on telling yourself the things that you love about yourself. Because again, it kind of comes back to that negative self-talk. And I was so worried about finding that sense of belonging, but realistically, it's all about loving and knowing who yourself is. And that's the sense of belonging that you need to really focus in on, because then that's going to attract people that really love you for who you are.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So,
Be a magnet.
yes.
Be a magnet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. That is really good advice for anybody, really, at any time in your life. It really is just never, ever too late to say, you know what? This is just who I am. This is what I
Yeah.
love about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're 40, I've heard you can do that at 40.
Yes.
I would know. But yeah, I really, really love that, Janessa. And you believe that now, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I still have my days where I struggle. I'm going to be honest. Everybody does. Everybody has those days to where, yeah, like it is just, it's part of life. But oh, yeah, I truly believe it.
Yeah. And I forgot to say this to you earlier. It just reminded, we are human beings, not humans doing. We're
Yeah.
not human doings,
Yes.
human beings.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't have to always be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Janessa, this was wonderful. I think we're going to get through this with very minimal editing.
Oh, yay. Great.
I'm going to keep all of it. Like 50 people will watch if we're lucky.
Oh, no, it'll be wonderful. We'll have a lot more people.
Oh, if 50
promise.
people watch, oh my gosh. I'm like embarrassed.
Oh, no. Don't be embarrassed.
But
There's been so many stupid things I've done on video for what happens. I mean, it's just whatever.
Embarrassed, seriously. 42. I don't know what happens to you, but it's wonderful because you can not really care. You're like, I'll put makeup on and stuff, but pants, maybe.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
For this, but
Yes.
see, I know that the pandemic shut us all indoors, but one thing about Janessa and I, you're still watching. We love being indoors. Well, we love
gosh, it is the best.
but
like, I love the sunshine and I love going out in the sunshine, but then I like to come back into my little hermit hole and just
so this new online space revolution really does work for us. And
yes.
It's really, really nice to be able to have this space where on a Friday I can wear, a cool sweatshirt and have a conversation with my friend and hopefully help some people. I hope a few people do watch this and realize that, oh my gosh, they're just as crazy as I am.
Well, and I think too, I really hope that this inspires individuals to become involved. But again, become involved on your terms. Like it's not that you need to jump in and get roped in and all of those different things. You have the ability and the power to know what you want to be involved in, to know the impact that you want to do. And there are boards and organizations out there that would love to have you.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Even, the contract I signed, I felt was more than fair.
Yes.
And I feel very appreciated. I am very, very lucky that the boards I have been involved with, this, boards I have been involved with are very good boards.
Yes.
And so I do consider myself very, very lucky. That being said, when you get a bunch of people in the same room fighting for the same thing, sometimes it gets a little hairy.
Yep.
Sometimes you have people that don't give as much as others.
Yep.
And but you do what you can. And a lot of times, the people that you don't think are doing very much, they come up with like all of a sudden they're like, well, hey,
Yep.
$5,000 in donations. Yeah.
Yep.
Or we'll come up with something and it's, that's kind of the other thing, about working on boards is you kind of can sometimes feel you're doing more.
Yeah.
I'm doing more than others, or somebody else can be doing so much more. But what you have to really think is you don't know what their life is like.
Yeah.
They work a full-time job,
Yep.
or, you may work a full-time job. I don't know, but, everybody's life is a little different. And when you work towards something and I don't know, you know what? Like I said, I don't know. I may be talking about stuff I don't even know about because I just I work on good boards, and the very few times that I have gotten irritated or dare I say angry with any activity of the board, I was quickly checked because I did not know what was I just
Behind the curtain. Yeah.
totally and
Yeah.
I felt micromanaged. And then like I said, very quickly I started realizing, okay. Okay. I peeked behind the curtain and I have a little better
Yeah.
understanding now. So
And again, I think that comes from clear communication and clear expectations. Because again, not everything is going to be communicated right off the bat. So you're going to have those little hiccups that kind of go through. But
yeah,
again, it's all about you communicating. It's like, and you don't have to be it in a mean way. Like nothing great comes out of anger. So,
not at all.
hey, when you did X, Y, and Z, I felt this way. And then they can say, oh, you know what? I am so sorry about that. I had, there was this going on and I didn't realize this. And then you're like, okay, so now I have a little bit better understanding of what either it be your executive team, like your leadership team, president, secretary, treasurer, that maybe have a little bit more knowledge.
Right.
Maybe know a little bit more about what is going on in their realm compared to me, who is just volunteering and participating on this board to help us work towards the mission and vision.
Right.
So, and I think too, it's all about, having dedicated individuals who are moving towards that same mission and vision. That's what it always comes down to.
Yeah.
And so it's always about having those clear communications and making sure everybody is trying to steer the ship in the same way. Because if you feel secure in that fact, then you feel more secure in bringing up those little hiccups and opening up the door of communication. But if you have no idea where anything is going, that can just add a whole different level of confusion and really make you as a volunteer kind of shut down because you're like, I don't know why this happened. I don't like it, but I don't know what the heck anything is or why it's going on.
Right.
And so then that just adds on a different level of insecurity. But I think what really makes a great board is they know where they're going. Everybody knows where they're going, and it is consistently reviewed and repeated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really the only, as far as myself, that is the only experience I've ever had. Like I said, I don't really have bad experiences. I'm creating problems at this
Yeah.
I mean, just for the sake of a good, like a good conversation, I have to create problems. What a, what
life.
But like I said, I have really worked with great boards. And I said that, my frustration, and really anybody that has is sometimes they can be very slow moving.
Yeah.
They have to go through a lot of yeses. They have to go, there's a lot of things that you don't see and a lot of money that's just not there. And so your big grandiose ideas, if you're a Pisces, may take a few years or, may take some time. They can't just poof magically appear. So patience is an absolute virtue. When it really comes to any type of volunteering. That's something that has really been helpful in my life, is not saying yes to everything It's
Mhm.
absolutely okay to say no,
Yep.
or no response is an answer.
Yeah.
Those are 2 things that I have learned.
Yep.
Um, and patience. You
Yeah.
don't know everything.
Correct.
Ask questions. Even if you think you know,
Ask.
ask. Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, Janessa, my dogs really need to go out.
Okay.
Get down here so bad, and now they need to leave. So, again, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
I'm going to work on this. I'll talk to you Monday. And
Great.
again, this has been wonderful. You guys, if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Janessa. I'll have her information
Yeah.
linked somewhere. I'm not
Yeah.
sure where yet, but I'll have her information down here. I'll put a link to what's happening. And then yeah, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's been wonderful. Thanks again.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.